All right, let us try this again. Am I live? It says I am. Hopefully my internet signal stays up. We will see. Thanks for your patience. Okay. All right, cool, 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 cool. I don't think that there is. Thanks for your patience. A lag. Although it is. All right, cool, 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 cool. It is weird that I have my AirPod turned off on my phone, but no, I have my whole Bluetooth turned off on my phone, but yet I still heard myself from my phone and my AirPod. Anyway, we persevere. Lifestyles of the third world and ghetto. Still heard
But we will
myself
continue. I can
from my
still hear
phone and my
myself.
AirPod.
That's
Anyway,
weird.
okay, we persevere.
So I'm gonna send
Lifestyles
this
out one more time, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, alrighty. Oh, that's not what I meant to send. Um, Sorry, y'all. I have to go through this again with um sharing this. Okay, alrighty. So I was literally just gonna get into the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about tonight, and then my signal went down. So I'm trying to reshare my my links. Hmm, I cannot delete that either. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Facebook is very weird. I just want y'all to know that. It's extremely weird. Extremely weird. Enough. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to hop into it because I drank two ventis today from the coffee house that will not be named, but y'all know. If you know, you know what a venti, where it comes from. And my bladder activated about an hour and a half ago. So we're going to keep this short. All right. So, what I wish someone had told me. Number one, the first thing is if my price was already low, why would I allow clients, customers, prospects to talk me down on my price even further? That makes no sense whatsoever. I promise you, it makes no sense. And here's why it doesn't make sense, right? Um, in fact, no, let me not go off on that tangent because you already know how I feel. I will always tell you, not always, a lot of times, I will tell you that your prices are too low. You need to adjust them, right? And so I want to take it from a different angle and talk to you about how you can tell that your prices might be too low. But let me give you story time, right? Let me give you story time, my story time, because I am always very transparent with you guys and I share my experiences so that you don't have to go through the same things that I did, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made, right? And so, um, story time. So I had an existing relationship with a former client, right? And at the time, the client had someone else there full time doing that particular type of work. And then the person left. Because I had the existing relationship and I was looking to move into that in my business as a freelancer, as a consultant, I said, hey, would you consider allowing me to be the person who takes over and fills in this role, but in a consulting position, meaning I'm not coming into your establishment 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever it is. They agreed that they would review my proposal. I put in the proposal and then I was already talked down. I was talked down on my already low price. Here's how I knew. Number one, that my price was too low. I put in a price that was half of the price of what they were charging, or sorry, what they were paying someone who was working there full time. Now that's problematic because I was still expected to fill in and have the output of the person who was there full time, but for half the money. That's what I would have been compensated with. They talked me down by about 10%, okay, of what I was asking for. It was like, if you bring it down to this, then we'll go with you, right? And so because I was green, because I was desperate, yes, I use the D word, I was desperate because it was one of my very first clients on my own in my business. And so I just said, okay, you know what? It's my foot in the door. It's a great, it's a portfolio piece. Great. And I took it. And y'all, I caught hell, to put it mildly. I did not have a true understanding of the fact that all of the expectations that would be put on me for half the price almost of what the output and expectations were for the person who was there full time. So I say this to you without going too far off my list. Have a complete understanding before you quote people about what it is that you're expected to do, what you are required to do, and what their measure of success is in what you're doing. Because I had a certain level of expectation, they had a certain level of expectation. If I had known what I knew at the time, if I had known what I was getting myself into when I put in that proposal, when I got the pushback that was, if you bring it down, I would have said, absolutely not. In fact, I'm already giving you a discount, relationship notwithstanding. And ultimately, the relationship with certain people in the organization ended up breaking down anyway. So here it was, I gave the discount. I gave, and I already priced out of low confidence, right? Gave the discount because of relationship. And then had certain people turn on me in spite of the relationship. So at the end of it, I said, you know what? Thanks, but I'm good. Thank you, but I'm good. I'm out. I can't do this anymore. Okay. So here is how you might learn that your prices are too low. One, people gladly pay you. People gladly pay you. There is no, ooh, that's a little stretch. There's no, can I get a payment plan? There's no, that's a little steep. There's no, okay, let me get back to you. They just happy to pay you. Like no one is protesting, no one is pausing, no one is, you might be too low. Another way that you might be too low is you don't feel it's worthy. You literally feel like your time is being wasted or you're being burned out because the value of what you're giving is not aligning with the value of what you're getting, aka your compensation, right? That's very important to know as well. Also, If your clients or customers say to you, you need to raise your prices, or I would pay more for this, and not just one or two people, I'm talking about people over time consistently saying this to you, like, this is worth so much more, you should raise your prices. Consider what they're saying. They're the ones who are paying you, right? So they're giving you the feedback. Forget about what you think or how you think it should be. Always listen to the customer's feedback. Okay? Um, so those are some of the ways that you would know that your prices are too low. The second mistake, and this list is not in any particular order. The second mistake is disrespecting myself by setting my own prices. So it wasn't even like I went out there and had people say to me, I'm willing to spend this much or within this price range for these set of services. I set my prices and then I got upset at times because I felt used and abused. But you all heard me say I set my prices. So if my prices were too low, if I was feeling like the value that I was giving was not commensurate with the value that I was being paid, who else could raise my prices but me? It was on me that I was pricing too low. And again, I was not confident. I was not sure. I felt like people were taking a chance on me and that I needed to prove that they made the right decision in taking a chance on me. Y'all, I don't have that attitude anymore. I don't have that issue. I don't have that problem. Okay? You ain't taking no chance on me, babes. I taking a chance on you because you might stress me out. Okay? And all money ain't good money, as they say. You are not taking a chance on me. I'm not about to do anything that is not within my wheelhouse or that I feel is not within my extensive work history or capabilities. I'm not, you ain't about to ask me to do brain surgery. And I said, yeah, just pay me. No, I'm going to operate in a way that I know that I'm graced for and that I'm graced with. Okay? So you aren't about to stress me. I'm taking a chance with you when I allow you to pay me. Right? Peace of mind, y'all. Ooh, there's a different topic, but peace of mind is important as an entrepreneur. Okay? Y'all ever had that moment where you realize that you've been disrespecting yourself? You ever had that moment? I've had moments like that. Like when I stumble across information and I realize that this person or these people are offering this similar service to what it is that I'm doing, but they're charging so much more and they are booked. Y'all, I've had those moments. I remember one time in particular, I saw someone's rates. I don't remember how I did it, but I saw someone's rates and I got upset. I got upset. And I know I say don't watch your competitors, but be aware of what they're doing, right? Don't base your prices on your competitors, but if you could find out what they do and then sure, use it to your advantage, right? But in this particular instance, there was such a difference between what I was charging and what they were charging. And I had seen that person in action. And I knew the level of service of what I provided, right? And I was able to see them in action as well to understand the level of service that they provided. So essentially, I run hard and immediately upped my price by, oh gosh, I jumped by, I want to say minimum $500. I upped my prices. Like effective immediately for the next people who inquired, these are my new rates. That's how disrespected I felt by myself. And I don't recommend everyone do that. I don't recommend that you jump up and that you suddenly increase your prices by that much overnight. But the industry that I was in, I was able to do that. I was able to not just justify my prices, but it was like, okay, it's time for a price increase um, to make it commensurate to the value that I provided. Okay, so be aware of that too. Do not disrespect. Yes, listen, in the business world, there is already enough room for disrespect. Disrespect from people in the industry, your fellow people in the industry, disrespect from clients, disrespect from if you are someone who looking for funding or you do pitches or whatever, there's a whole lot of room for feedback and disrespect and critiques. Do not also be the place where you are the source of disrespecting yourself, your gifts, your talents, your business, your products, and your services. Okay. Number three, I made the mistake of not tracking my time. Y'all, there is so much money that we don't capture because many of us don't know how long it takes to provide this product or service. You could be a consultant and you could be charging an hourly rate, except that you might be charging an hourly rate, not including the time it takes to pack up your equipment, get it to the people's place, unpack your equipment, perform the service, pack up your stuff again, and then unpack them when you reach back to your store or your home or wherever it is that you operate. Y'all, that's time. You have to consider the before and the after you give service or you provide that product. You have to consider, like for me in the floral design industry, in the floral industry, I have to consider the time that I take to sit down to my computer and put together what flowers am I going to use? What quantities do I need? How long does it take me to go back and forth with my wholesaler or my supplier? The transportation time that it takes for me to get to the flower shop to pick up the flowers and take them where I'm going to work, the time it takes to load up my car, the time it takes to unload my car on site, the time it takes for me to deliver and set up, the time it might take me to break down if I have to break down. All of that is time. Time is money. Always. It's not just a cliche, it's not just something that people say. As a small business owner, as a freelancer, as a consultant, as a side hustler, as a whatever you call yourself, your time is money. The same way how you go on a job and your time is money, your time is money even more when it comes to your business. I cannot emphasize that enough. So, what I suggest to you is a tool that I used to use to clock my time. I don't have to do it as strictly now because I don't charge necessarily by the hour as often as I used to do. So, there is a tool called Clockify, Clockify. Clockify. I love it because I would use it to track my hours. I could label who I was working for, and then it really just is a matter of pushing start and stop, right? And I could label the activities of what it is that I did during that time. So it was really good because I got to invoice clients and I got to itemize what it is that day, how long I spent, what the exact activities were that I did. Use it. Use it, use it, use it. Remember that in your business, your prices have to account for everything. When you work a job, your salary has nothing to do with the electricity, the phone, the utilities, the inventory, the marketing, the business cards, the marketing material, the advertising. It has nothing to do with that. How the business owner pays that has nothing to do with you. But remember, that your prices, everything has to be included in that. Everything that I just called off, plus more. And you have to add profit. It's not good enough for you to run a business forever at break even, meaning that if it costs you $200 to sell this thing, then you sell it at $200. No, you want to make a profit, whether it's 250, whether you sell at 250 and $50 is your profit, or you sell at 300, 400, 500, 1,000, whatever it is. Okay? Even okay, let's think of a concept. Lyft or Uber. I use Lyft. I don't think I've ever used Uber. When I get into the lift and I decide, oh, I need to make a stop on the way to wherever it is that I'm supposed to go as my final destination, I can add the stop. And you know what Lyft says? If you take more than 5 minutes at this location, I think it's 5 minutes. If you take more than 5 minutes at this location, then you may be charged by the driver. You may be charged extra money by the driver. Time is money. Okay? Remember that if a big organization, entity, whatever it is, understands that time is money, you don't think you need to make an emphasis that time is money as well? And remember, too, you have to account for your labor cost. I spoke about this just a few minutes ago. The fact that I could sit down and I have to write up a recipe and I have to write up a list of flowers that I need, and I have to spend my time ordering the flowers and going to the store, and I have to create the flowers and all this stuff, that's labor. Think about it. If you paid someone to do what it is that you do, all those things, whatever it is, in delivering your products or service, right? Excuse me. Let's say you had an employee, or you do have employees already, and you need to pay them to do whatever it is that you do. You have to include that as your labor cost. Your employees or your employee is a labor cost, okay? You have to make sure that you are accounting for your labor costs in your prices. Remember that everything, every single thing that you do, every activity, every expense comes out of how much you charge. So if at the end of the day it takes you $20 per whatever, I don't know. Let me see. What could I show you? Let's say this, right? Let's say I sold these. This is a Highland notepad notebook, right? Let's say it takes $1.75. I mean, it's China. But let's say it takes $1.75 to produce this notebook. $1.75, right? And then I'm actually selling this, or they're selling this at $2.25. How? That's a profit, right? But let's say that I wake up one day and I'm like, oh, I just want to do a little discount. I just want to do a little sale. So let me sell this at $1.50. But it takes me $1.75 to produce this. So now I'm putting myself in the hole because I woke up today and felt in my spirit to give a discount. But how would I know that I'm losing money if I don't know how much it costs me to produce this notebook in the first place? How would I know that I'm losing money if I don't know that it takes $1.75 to produce this one notebook? And instead, I'm pricing on my feelings, but that's another topic. Okay. Anyway, number four, know the difference. And I wish I had known this. I wish I had known the difference between charging an hourly rate and charging for value. So, this one is a little bit tricky because it really can depend on your industry. It can depend on your business model. It can depend on who you're selling to. It can depend on so many different things. And this is where I talk about how pricing is not just an art, it's a science. It's not exact, but you have to experiment. Because, for example, you can have a personal trainer. I don't know why that came up, right? You can have personal trainers who charge $80 per session, one on one. Sorry, $80 for the month for one on one or group sessions. And then you could have a personal trainer who charges $325 per month. Now, they may offer the same hours of training per month. They may provide very similar workouts. They may even both provide meal plans. It's just that one has a higher rate than the other. Now, this person over here may say, okay, my time is worth this per hour. And then the other trainer may say, well, I feel like this is the value of the transformation that I'm giving my clients. Okay. So, value based pricing is recommended for a lot of industries, moving away from hourly rates. An hourly rate says that you charge based on how many hours you expect to work, right? And here's one challenge with that. If you're not tracking your time, you have no idea how much time it actually takes to do something. You may tell someone, well, it's going to take me 6 hours to do this thing, and then it really takes you 9. So you have lost out on money potentially, right? Because they may have said, okay, well, we'll pay you the 9. Or they may have said, well, we can't afford the 9, had you priced it the way you were supposed to, right? And then you could have negotiated from there if you want to. But value based pricing says, I feel that this is what the work is, or the product or the service is worth to you. And then, however long you decide to take to fulfill that work, you might put in 50 hours, you might put in 8. The client doesn't need to know that, but it's based on their perceived value of what it is that you're providing. That's why, for example, you know, like I remember there was a situation where within the span of 1 week, I locked myself out of my car 2 times. Not even 1 week. I think it was like 4 days apart. Something was going on with my alarm at the time, and for whatever reason, it would allow me to lock my keys in the car, right? It was not doing that before, but then there was an issue with the alarm. The alarm got disabled, and unfortunately, my car at the time, I have a different car now. My car at the time would automatically lock the doors after a certain period. So I wouldn't even notice that my keys were locked in the car until I go back to my car and I see my key sitting up in the middle console, right? Again, my alarm, when it was working before that, would not allow that to happen. So I called this mobile locksmith that I randomly found, and I paid him the first time when he said, well, based on your location, et cetera, it's going to cost X amount, right? And I think it was like $80. It was like 80 or $100, right? So imagine that within a span of 4 days, I paid him between 160 and $200 to let me into my vehicle. And I watched him both times. Both times it took him less than 20 seconds to pop my door open. He was able to charge value, not necessarily hourly. Okay, I need to get in my car. I'm not prepared to pay to get my car towed, and then I still can't get in my car, right? So it's like he was able to also weigh the value of, well, I mean, you could get your car towed, but you still need to get in your car. So you're still gonna have to call me, and towing your car is gonna cost the same or more as me just letting you get into your car. there was some anchoring that was able to happen. There was some, well, your other alternatives ain't good and they can cost you money anyway. So you might as well pay me, right? And that's what he was able to do. Now, I don't know the man business model. I'm just speculating, right? I don't know him personally. But I'm saying all that to say that weigh value based pricing. If you are a person who is charging right now on an hourly basis, weigh it out, see if it works for you, see if it makes sense for your business. Number five, I wish someone had told me to add a stress tax. Y'all, y'all know people are stressful. Even us business owners, some of us are downright horrible customers, okay? Which I don't understand because you wouldn't want someone to do that to you in your business, right? But anyway, let me get off my high horse. Right. I wish I had known to add stress tax. When I do, which is rare now, but when I do one off projects, oh, I'm going to add a 20% stress tax or a 10% stress tax or a 15%, or depending on my interaction with the person or the company, it might be higher than that because I already know that if you can cost me some of my peace temporarily, it has to be worth it. Honestly, some of you need to consider it because, especially if you are someone who doesn't really vet your clients, you, as long as someone is paying you, you don't care, you'll take the money and do the work. Oh, try adding a little stress tax. If you don't feel good about it, like up your price by 5 to 10%. I promise you. You probably need to do that anyway, but you'll at least feel like, okay, I have a reason to raise my prices. Add a stress tax. Thank me later. I won't expand too much on that, right? I already spoke about how your prices have to account for everything. That was my number six. Number seven, I wish that someone had told me that booked and busy is not the same thing as being profitably paid. I wish someone had told me that booked and busy is not the same thing as being profitably paid. Booked and busy sounds good, but if you're doing a lot of free work, whew, that used to be me. If you're doing a lot of discounted work, your booked and busy could have you looking great in the internet social media content streets, like you all about you and high demand. But if them bills ain't getting paid, if you struggling, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Because people have no problem pulling on you for little to nothing. They have no problem using you if you position yourself to be used and for little to nothing in exchange to you. They have no problem doing that. I already spoke before about how it should never be your goal to just make it, to barely make it. And I know we're in the Bahamas, we're in Nassau, Bahamas. We live in one of the most expensive countries in the world. Okay, so I get it, right? But and so I say that to say that sometimes, depending on the economy and what's happening in government and all of this, barely making it is sometimes the goal, or it just happens, right? Especially like now with electricity prices. But that's not the goal. Those are current situations, but it should not be your goal to just make it. It should not be your goal to just have a little business. No, no. Let it be worth it to you. Whether it's for your legacy, whether it's for wealth building or giving back to your community or building your family up, whatever it is, it needs to be meaningful for you. Focus on being profitable. Do not focus on how you look on social media because you seem to be everywhere and everyone wants to buy from you and everyone wants to be you and everyone wants to see you. Because I promise you, that is a recipe for burnout. That's a recipe for building a business that you hate. That is a recipe for you constantly having to hustle and not being able to get out of that lifestyle, that is a recipe for you to be miserable and even to end up shutting down your business because it's not sustainable. Now, I'll give you a few quick bonuses, right? Bonus, this is point number 8. I wish someone had told me that my prices don't need to be flexible if I don't want them to be flexible. My prices don't need to be flexible if I don't want them to be flexible. Last week I asked the question, who is running your business, them or you? I don't have to bow to every request to give a discount. You don't either. I don't have to acknowledge every, oh, you're too expensive. You don't either. They don't know your business model. They don't know how your business bills are getting paid. They don't know how your personal bills are getting paid. They don't understand what your mission and the vision is for your business. They don't understand what your long term goals are. They don't know. So, why would you allow strangers or virtual strangers or even people who are close to you but still have no real idea about what it is that you're doing or trying to do and the conditions of your business? Why would you allow them to make you feel like you have to bend your prices for them? Y'all, there are people who you could offer something for free to them and they still won't get it from you. They still won't take it, but they pay someone else. You can offer people deep, deep, deep discounts and they'll take it and then they'll go pay someone else full price. Who says you need to be flexible? You don't need to be flexible. You don't need to be flexible. You need to be a CEO. You need to be an executive. Make executive decisions. Think strategically from a high level. And your high level does not need to involve constantly allowing everybody else to have input. Bonus number 2, point number 9. I wish someone had told me that I needed to adjust my prices in a timely manner. Y'all, I went to Wendy's yesterday for my nephew. Why are the salads now like $12.50? More than $12. I'll say it like that, right? I may be lying on 50 cents. I think it's that. Wendy's said lettuce and tomatoes gone up. We got to go up too. That salad, I think, is those salads are the most expensive or some of the most expensive items on their menu because lettuce and tomatoes went up. Bamboo Shack has discontinued serving lettuce and tomatoes because their prices went up. So here you are selling something that requires lettuce and tomatoes, but you ain't gone up even 5 cents. If Wendy's said we cannot afford to lose money on lettuce and tomatoes, you think you could afford to lose money on lettuce and tomatoes? Mm. I'm not saying price yourself out of the market. I'm saying that you need to price yourself so you could stay open, so that you could stay in the game, so that you could stay and be part of your market. That's what I'm saying. But again, if you're not tracking how much it costs to actually deliver your products and your services, you might not even know that you're losing money, especially if you have a job. Because, again, let me raise both hands. I've been guilty of this. I have not paid attention to the fact that I was taking money from my salary and putting it into the business to cover costs because I had a shortfall because I wasn't pricing myself properly. Y'all could confess in the comments that it's not just me. I know it's not just me. Okay? Your business has to cover your costs. Now, it's not every business that's going to be profitable immediately. Sometimes you will take the L. Sometimes you are going to be in the red for a bit. But again, that's not the goal. That's not the goal for you to stay in the negative. It's not the goal for you to just make it. Okay? Get a strategy together. Number one, get your strategy together about where you want your business to go. From that strategy, and that's what we talked about a few weeks ago, strategic goals, get you some. Number two, tactics. What is it going to take for you to get there? One of the things you may have to do is to restructure your pricing. Another thing you may have to do is reposition yourself in the market until you find the people who need you, who need your service, who need your product, who want to buy from you. Okay? I hope this list was super helpful to you. I really do. Um, and as for strategic goals and vision, I am about to introduce a very, very, very limited availability of a service that I am launching. It's called the Business Plan Edit. And so this is for those of you who may be new entrepreneurs or you are an existing entrepreneur and you have a business plan that's already in existence, but you're not confident about it. Maybe you haven't actually finished the business plan. Maybe you need someone to review your financials. Maybe you want someone to go over it with a fine tooth comb just to give you feedback and to make edits for you and to bring it up to standard, especially if you're looking for funding, if you're looking for grant opportunities, if you're looking for investors, if you're looking for loans. There are more and more opportunities every month, I would say, or every few months for new grant opportunities, for new funding opportunities. Yes, even for debt opportunities. Okay. And all of those are meant to grow your business. This is probably the best time that we've ever seen in the history of MSMEs, of small businesses in the country to actually get access to funding. And most of them require you to have a business plan. Not just a business plan that makes sense. And one of the first things that they do is actually go to your numbers. Okay. I know this because I've been in those meetings, I've been in those conversations, I've worked at those organizations, I've worked with those organizations. Okay. And so be aware that I have that offer coming up. I'm going to drop that page by Wednesday. It is a paid service. I ran from writing business plans, but can outrun y'all, apparently. So, this is for those of you who have existing business plans. I'm not writing anything from scratch unless you're willing to pay me a lot of money. I'm not writing your business plan from scratch. I want to continue to love and like human beings. So, I'm not writing any business plans from scratch, okay? But I will drop that. I will drop that information here in the next 2 days. And then, you can feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. If you have questions now about that, if you can't wait for until Wednesday. So feel free to inbox me if you want me to talk about any new topic that you can think of. Let me know as well. I'm always open to new ideas. If you're interested in having a dialogue or a conversation with me and be a guest on these recordings, then sure, why not? Feel free. I'll hear you out. Again, inbox me. You can inbox me on my personal page. You can inbox me on the TREP page. I am open. Okay. So I thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching on the replay. And thank you for bearing with me through the initial technical difficulties. You could have been doing anything else in the world, but you decided to spend some time with me. And for that, I'm always grateful. Thank you for giving me a listening ear during this time. And I'll see you next week. Bye.